Well, that was fun, wasn't it? You never know what rabbit holes we'll get to go down and explore. Were you reminded of anything? Or anyone? Share what it was with me in a review. Honestly, the reviews don't do me any favors other than knowing people like you are listening to this podcast. Insert cheesy wink. However, the ratings do help, so leave me 5 stars. You know you wanna. This podcast was produced by Virtual You, supporting you in all things podcasting. To connect or check me out on social media, I know you're just gonna stalk me. But see the show notes, as always, for details. Can't wait to dive into my next guest's memories with a beat. Hit subscribe now. You don't want to miss the next episode. Hello, Podcast Land. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Memories with a Beat. And today I have with me Isis Latham. So welcome to the podcast, Isis.
Thank you, Tiffany. Glad to be here.
Now, you are a little bit further north than me. So what is your temperature like right now?
It's cold. It's
Yeah.
freezing and nasty, and I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do to heat the floor under my feet because I hate cold feet.
Yes, I would say the same thing, really. I feel like my feet regulate my body temperature. So if my feet are hot, I'm hot. If my feet are cold, I'm cold. And actually, as we speak, I have a fan on my feet because I get really hot. Because you guys, I record in my closet.
That's
And
funny.
then I have a little baby ring light. And I don't know if it's the baby ring light that gets so hot or I just get so excited during my interviews, but I get really hot. So I put a fan on my feet. So I can appreciate wanting, and we used to live up north in Minnesota, so I can appreciate cold floors. And that was a really popular thing actually. Would When people would build their houses, they would put that
Radiant.
yes,
Yeah,
radiant heat.
radiant heat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep. And people will heat their whole house like that
Yeah, I'm in an
from
old
that
mill
radiant heat.
building, and so
Okay.
the floor looks pretty because it's decorative, but underneath that
Mm.
is nothing but a big old slab of cement.
Mhm, mhm. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Isis. I almost called you Latham. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you are, what you're doing, what makes you tick?
Sure. Thanks for asking. Well, I live in New England, in New Hampshire specifically, in a little college town called Keene, New Hampshire. And 24 years ago, I met my husband out mountain biking, and he is the music guy. And he used to play his guitar, and I would fall asleep with my head on his lap. And that's
Oh,
when I knew that we were probably going to be together for the rest of my life.
yeah.
And we met back in uh, what was it, March, when I turned 22, and then we had our wedding in September and had our first child in January of the next year.
Wow, you guys sound like us. We were fast trackers too, so nothing wrong with that. When you know it's right, you just know, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah. First of all, you guys, her husband is Jason Latham, and he has been on the show. If you go back and look at previous episodes, he did Poncho and Lefty. So I would encourage you to check that out. And you guys, I knew Jason was so talented. So I was like, okay, I had this idea that I was working with in my mind. I haven't used it in a little bit, but you may have seen it in my previous posts, where it was like flashback episode, and it kind of sounds like the Beastie Boys. It kind of sounds 90s ish. He really hit the nail on the head. Or the head on the nail. I don't know. People make fun of me because I usually say it wrong. But yeah, that was such a fun experience. And he definitely is the music guy. And he does create music for podcasts too. So if you guys need a little snippet of music made for you, I would encourage you to reach out to Isis's amazing husband, Jason Latham. And of course, check out his episode. You guys have the cutest posts. Like Jason will post something like, "Oh, Isis, you're the love of my life." And Isis replies back, "I know, darling, I feel the exact same way." They're very genuine and sincere posts. I know that they are, but it's very sweet. My husband and I have been married almost 21 years. And so I can appreciate the fact that you guys are still that much in love because a lot of stuff comes your way over that many of years. And so it's pretty cool that you guys have divided, conquered, and survived.
Yeah. Yeah. He's a great guy. So I told you about the early stage, and then we
Yeah.
moved to so we lived in Arizona, by the way, and,
Mhm.
so I had nice hot feet there all the time, and then we moved to New Hampshire and, continued to build our family here. We came here with 2 little girls, and I opened a toy store. It was an educational toy store called Abracadabra. Jason helped me name it, actually.
Love that.
And then I opened Sugar Snaps Kids, which was a clothing boutique that was all European clothes that we sourced.
Cute.
Yeah, and that was our life until 2008 when housing market the housing market crisis, right, with the mortgages, and everything imploded. We lost everything and started
Mm,
over. So there's the before 2008 in our life, and then there's the after 2008. And we struggled, but we came back stronger than ever. And in 2015, I went into finance and
mm.
opened a brokerage, and that's what I do now. And Jason raises our children and makes music.
Yeah, that's so awesome. I know that you work really hard and you guys really have come back stronger than ever. Isis and I are actually in a networking group as well. If you're looking for a networking group, we will put the information in the show notes. We would encourage everybody to join us, see what it's about, encourage each other in business, and help support and promote each other. But it's such a great networking call. And Isis shared a little bit about. So, Isis is with a company that actually helps you to kind of plan out your future and think about those things that are really not fun to think about, because honestly, I cry every single time we've ever talked about life insurance. I just get so sad thinking about my life without my husband. But she really pointed out some very important things. And you hear it, like, seriously, I think when it comes to financial planning and estate planning, I think you hear it probably like 30 times before you actually do something about it. So I was really happy to connect with you, Lysis, and get some things in place, and just know that we're going to leave this world maybe
Mhm.
a little bit more prepared for our children, in the event that something happens. But also just thinking about some fun things that Sean and I would like to do, and I know you're going to help us get there and find the funds for that. So that's really exciting too, to dream and think about all the fun things that Sean and I could accomplish, hopefully for 20, 30 more years. So very exciting.
Well, it's something I'm super proud
Mhm.
of that I get to do, and what a gift to be welcomed into the fears as well as the joys of
Mm,
any family, and be able to take those fears and alleviate them while building up the opportunity that's to come. And I think that's probably why Jason and I tend to post those types of things, is
mm,
because we really have an eye to the future. And
yeah.
it doesn't mean that we didn't have an argument. It doesn't mean that I
Sure.
wasn't frustrated, that I was, sitting in front of the computer for 2.5 hours buying snowsuits last night and watching the bill go up and up and up. And I'm like, ah. but but at the end of the day, it's like, why am I doing it? So that those kids can go outside and have fun and feel
Mhm.
confident that their bodies are not going to be cold. Because I want them to live life fully, no matter what it is they're experiencing.
Yeah, super awesome mission. I love that, and I'm excited to be working with you. On that note, I'm very excited about the song that you selected as well. So let's dive into it and share with me why you love it, how you connect with it. Are you transported somewhere? Tell us all the things.
Well, it's funny. So I chose Girls Just Want to Have Fun by Cyndi Lauper. And it was one of those songs that as a child, I I was kind of embarrassed by the lyrics, honestly, because I
Okay.
didn't totally get it, and I kinda knew that there were innuendos and other things going on, and so Madonna was my other favorite artist at the time, and it was kinda like, am I supposed to like this? Am I not supposed to like this?" But it the reason that I kept coming back to it was that she was so happy sounding. Like,
Mm.
there was something really joyful about the sound in her voice and the lyrical, um, way that the song just made you feel. And I don't even to this day, I don't tend to listen to the words. I listen to the sound. And when Jason is making music and playing something for me, and he knows I'm the most critical ears that he could ever find, I close my eyes usually when I'm listening to it because I can see shapes and colors
Okay.
behind my closed eyes. And so I think that's why like the movement of a song is so much more important than just what the words are. But Jason and I were talking about this, and I was saying, I
Yeah.
don't know, should I use that song? Because there's the song that, our children were born to, and, and
Yeah.
there's all these moments in life. There are the songs that he used to play when I would, lay my head on his lap and go to sleep.
Mm.
There are songs that we had in dating and in our wedding and all of that. But I couldn't remember the names of any of them.
Interesting.
But I can hear them in my head. I certainly can't sing them. You don't want me to do that. And
I guess I'll
last
say
time
thank you.
yeah, last time I sang was in church choir, and we'll just leave it at that. And, but Jason and I were talking about it, and he was saying, Isis, it's just like what you've done with your life. You went from, I don't know how to have fun. I have a vision, but I don't know how to make it come true. Um, to, oh, this is the world I want around me, and I'm going to create it. And so people say Facebook and social media and everything is negative. And I'm like, what are you talking about? There's zero negativity on my page.
Yeah.
Right? Like my feed, there is nothing there. Granted, there are losses and
Yes.
and sorrows and things like that, but nobody's ever nasty
Yeah.
because I don't let those people into my world.
Yep.
Um, I started a business networking group, and as I as it started to form into what I wanted it to be, it became Evo Biz Devo, right? Because like Devo is fun, and that was like I was going back to, I can't tell you exactly what the song is or anything like that, but I was going back to what used to make me smile.
Mm.
And so we've tried to create that in that group. And I keep finding myself saying, this is the world that I have made, and it's all about me. That's not because I want to be, pretentious or anything like that, but I want to be happy in my world because there's a lot that you can't control, but you can decide what your space is going to be like, and you can decide what you're going to put out there and what you're going to accept. So
Absolutely.
that's what those lyrics have come to mean for me. I'm in financial services, but I'm not stodgy. I get to wear pearls and a leather jacket to work, right? Like, and I don't have to wear. I don't own a you know 3-piece blazer suit.
If you don't need it, why would you own it?
Exactly.
Yes, you always look very professional and very nice, quite honestly. Yes, and your business networking group is so amazing, and I think one of the reasons why I was attracted to it and why I'm attracted to you is because, they say that you're most like the 5 people you hang around with the most, and so you have chosen to surround yourself with people that make you happy and that have maybe same visions and goals as you or are trying to grow their business like you are, and so I think that that's really important to be a part of the group for that reason that you're like the 5 people you spend the most time with. So if you're in a networking group with them, you're likely a friend with them on Facebook. You're likely seeing their posts, commenting, they're seeing yours, commenting, and encouraging one another. So I do love the group, and I can see that in you, Isis, that you have built this group to satisfy your needs and desires, for, just these awesome people to be surrounding you. And I find the same thing on Facebook. I don't find that everybody is negative. I have mostly positive stuff on my feed too. So I can appreciate that. And my mind is always kind of like, what are you talking about? What do you mean that it's all negative? So I can appreciate that very much. Okay, so you said when you were a child, you heard the song. What age is that?
So that probably would have been like 10,
Okay.
11.
That's interesting that that's the age, because I think that that's how Hannah feels about some music, and that's my daughter, and
Mhm.
she's 10 as well. And so I think that every once in a while, she's kind of like, a bad word will come on or something, but cheapers, they're almost unavoidable anymore. So, I'm like, I know, you just got to ignore it, pretend like you didn't hear it, and, enjoy the rest of the song. So I
Yep.
appreciate that. Yeah. Do you have siblings as well, Isis?
No, only child.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. I was gonna say, like, did you guys listen to MTV and rock out? Maybe did you have friends over and do that?
I'm laughing because we had no TV.
Okay.
So I went through the MTV era really only seeing it at one friend's house who had friends over who were skateboarders.
Okay.
And so that would have been like the 13 years old. And I would come downstairs and I'd see the TV on and I'd watch this MTV and I would be like, what is that? It's not a TV show. There's no like plot and story. But it was very
Right.
confusing to me because
Right.
that was not my world at all. But that was the
Yeah.
era that I was growing
Mhm.
up in, and there was a big divide, right? If you were crunchy hippie in your growing up with parents, that didn't believe in TV. What was it? Something like, the tube is dead or something like that. I
Oh
don't
my
remember exactly
goodness.
what it was, but there would be bumper stickers on people's cars, vilifying television,
Oh my goodness.
and you could only read books, and so I was kind of a serious
I
kid. Like
guess.
I didn't, and so that's why I'm saying that it kind of made me embarrassed because you're supposed to be serious, you're supposed to be composed.
So
And
interesting.
but this world that I was growing up into was not like that at all.
Wow. I can't imagine. So do you feel like it divided you with your friend groups as well? Because a lot of the friends knew what was going on, or the kids your age, I mean, knew what was going on with MTV and everything. And then
Mhm.
did your friends have TVs? I mean, just the one?
Yeah, my friends did, and I'm trying to think, like, yeah, I did because, like, people will learn, like, and it happens today, right? Because 'Cause you've got YouTube, you've got Snapchat, all these other ways that you
Yeah.
can learn things. But things like I could learn intellectually and conceptually from books, which I spent a lot of time reading. That was, my mother would ground me and take away my books. While other parents are like, the only thing you can have is a book. but but she would take my books away because I lived in my books. But what you cannot learn from a book is a new dance move
Sure.
and things like that. You can't learn music. And so those types of things, yeah, that definitely divided me. I felt like a weirdo. I
Yeah.
think every kid feels like a weirdo now that I'm an adult and I watch my own children growing up. But yeah, I didn't know how to assimilate with other kids in the same way.
Yeah, that makes total sense. If you're not exposed to it, how would you
Right.
relate?
So
Totally.
I
Totally, like, totally, dude.
Yep.
Got a podcast? Are you loving it, but not loving how much time post production takes? Or maybe you just have other tasks calling your name a little bit louder. Virtually You can help. Check out virtuallyouva.com, supporting you in all things podcasting like editing, show notes, audiograms, and much more. See the link in the show notes. They're waiting to give you back your time. And on that note, let's get back to the show. I like that you said that you appreciate this song for the lyrics because I do like to ask people usually, is it more the words or is it more the music aspect? But I'm not surprised to hear you say that it's the music just because of the background that you're telling me that you had growing up, but also because Jason, so he focuses on the instrumental piece of it. And when you're around it, you just start to gravitate towards that or learn to appreciate that. So that doesn't hugely surprise me. Are your children musical?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. And not only musical, but they can play instruments and they can
Mm,
sing. And it was funny because they all attribute it to their dad. And
yeah.
I think their skill is, but I think the early upbringing is probably mine because I used to hum and sing to them all the time. And I wasn't I'm a car hummer.
Okay.
Like, I would be driving around in the car with them or carrying them on my hip, and there's a certain movement and sound that I think mothers just naturally make
Yeah.
when they're raising their children, and there's the soothing ones, and then there's the happy ones, and, like, there's all these different sounds, and I think a lot of times, especially when you're alone with your child, you have whole conversations that have nothing to do with words. They're all
Yeah.
just sounds.
Yeah.
And so I was really into that with them. With I wanted them to express their voices and be
Mm.
happy with their voice. And so when my daughter Katianya told me, that I really shouldn't sing because she's, she's an opinionated, incredible young lady, but she was one of those kids. Well, she was a little bit like me, and so one time, I think she must have been like 6 or 7, and she told me I shouldn't sing because she didn't like the way it sounded, and I was like, "Who are you? I gave birth to you. I helped you to develop your own voice and be
Yeah.
confident.
Yeah.
So, I'm appreciating that you're confident. Now watch yourself."
Yeah. Well, I always laugh because I love to sing as well, but I'm not that great of a singer either. And so we would watch American Idol, and somebody would have a song that I love, so I'd sing with them, and my family would all turn to me and say, "Tiffany Mason, you are not going to Hollywood." So that's the joke in our house about me singing. I really thought that you were going to say about this song that you had some girls' trip or, I don't know, that somehow it connected to, sometime in high school or something like that because it's so much of like, did you see the movie Girls Just Want to Have Fun with Sarah Jessica Parker?
I'm not sure I did, but I
Okay.
love
Yes.
movies.
It's
That
a must check out. It's
movies
super good.
okay.
Plus, it's Sarah Jessica Parker. I love Sarah Jessica Parker. But she's a teenager in there and they sneak out and they're trying to go to a dance competition, I believe, but it might be a singing competition, but they're trying to sneak out and these girls just want to have fun. And it's such an iconic song from the 80s. And who doesn't love Cyndi Lauper, right? I mean, everything that she put out I think was absolutely amazing and fantastic, slow or fast. And I can see why Madonna was a close
Mhm.
second for you, very similar to Cyndi Lauper. And you were right too that she has a very you can tell when it's a Cyndi Lauper song, kind of like Madonna. I mean, really a distinct voice that you knew it was that person. So I appreciate that about this song too. Is there anything else that you want to add about this song, Isis?
It's funny that everything comes back to the visual,
Mm.
right, for
Hmm.
me, and so when I think of that song, I think of this blue dress that my Aunt Liz was the cool aunt, by the way,
Okay.
and my Aunt Liz got me this incredible blue dress that had all these layers of lace,
Mm. Mm.
and she got me yellow patent leather heels.
Fun.
That I got to wear with that dress, and, it's funny when you put something on like that, you just feel like you are the coolest thing, the most beautiful thing in the world. And so going back to that, like the Cyndi Lauper versus the Madonna, later on in life, it seemed like a long time later, but I must have been 16, 15 or 16, 4 years. Um, I I got to go on Newbury Street and go shopping, and
Oh.
there was the next dress, it was this green, velvet dress that was like a skater
Oh.
skirt, and I got to wear that for New Year's Eve, and it's like, we didn't really do anything for New Year's Eve, it was more about the buying the
Yeah.
dress and the getting ready, and you're like, "Okay, now what are we gonna do?"
All dressed up with nowhere to
But it
go.
was neat to
Waiting for
see
midnight.
those fashions become almost mainstream, right? What she was wearing in those videos, that was outrageous. But over just a short time period like that, it became this is what like went to kind of pretty in pink,
Yep.
and then it moved into, yeah, this is like party wear.
Yeah.
And we can all wear this. I was showing my children these pictures of me when I was 16, and now my kids are, not all of my kids, but my older children are covered in tattoos, and they have piercings and all these things, and that was so outrageous. When I was a kid, I got a nose ring, and I was told, if you're going to leave the house again, you're going to take it out.
Oh.
But I was showing them these pictures, and it's a picture of me like with my hair all piled up on top of my head, and kind of like that I just don't care kind of look,
Yeah.
and really bright red lipstick, and almost up to my knee laced up tall boots, and black stockings, and like a black velour dress or velvet dress. And I was like, you guys don't understand. Like, this was so outrageous back then for me to dress like this. And my daughter or my child is looking at the picture. And they're 11, and like, why? That's the way that everybody dresses now. I was like, I know. Give it time. Yeah,
It wasn't then.
yeah.
You were a trendsetter.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
you
was
were ahead
hard
of
to
your
be a
time.
trendsetter.
Well, you probably just have, like, a little bit of more of an artistic flair to
Yeah,
your, attire that,
yeah, exactly.
people weren't ready for, so I can totally see you rocking the blue dress with the yellow heels and the green dress later and just feeling like $1,000,000.
Well, and you gotta remember I was almost 5'9" by that point too. So I was
Oh,
literally head and
man.
shoulders above all the other kids. They thought I was gonna be an
Whoa.
Amazon, and I was like, "No, I didn't keep growing it. That was when it stopped."
Right, right. Oh my goodness, that's so
Yeah.
crazy. Wow, wow. Well, is there anything else that we should talk about? We got
Ye
trendy Aunt Liz, and we got no TV MTV. Anything else that comes to mind? Or when you hear it on the radio, are you just instantly just happy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel nostalgic when it comes on, or do you just feel just happy?
I guess nostalgic.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things that appealed to me about your podcast is you talk about that transporting, um,
Mhm.
and it does when we hear music, and it's not just our mind, it's like our body.
Mhm.
You can smell things
Mhm.
based on sound. You can see things based on sound. Like, it all
Yeah.
has to work together. And I was just thinking back, like, I can still remember so vividly having nail polish in my hair, right? Because 'Cause I've got, like, the
Oh.
hair that's really curly, and getting nail polish in it and being like, "Oh, that's kinda cool, actually." And,
That's funny.
like, just having that streak, but it's like you can, and I guess by that point, it would have been the Cocteau Twins that was, that would have been playing at that point, right? Because that's like where that trend was headed.
Yeah. When you say about that you feel nostalgic and you can see and smell everything, I did this meditation and you are supposed to imagine yourself floating above your body. So you're like looking down, watching yourself. And then you go back like you're supposed to it's supposed to like basically you're trying to erase something negative that happened. So you go back and you remember that
Mhm.
time, but it was weird to do it because I could, I was brought back to Christmas and I could see my grandmother in the kitchen and I could see everybody in the living room actually watching MTV. And because my uncle was die hard, hardcore MTV, Depeche Mode, and all those guys, and he just was really into music. And so I think that you're right. I think that music does the same thing where you're instantly like floating over yourself, looking down, watching the whole thing. It's kind of like an out of body experience, but yeah, you can smell and yeah,
Yeah.
remember. And yeah, so cool. I love the power of music.
Remember it, like, and then you can I can picture the first radio I ever got
Yeah, oh
and
yes,
being so excited, and yeah, we show our kids those radios, and
I
they're
know.
like, "What is that?"
You
It
can't
was,
hold that.
it's like, yeah, it was like, and of course, I had to bring it over to my friend's
Of
house.
course, you had to bring your boombox. You can't go without it. You had to play Cyndi Lauper, "Girls Just Wanna Have Fun." Of course, you had to bring it.
Yeah.
I saw a post the other day talking about, kids these days have it really hard, but they don't know what it's like when a cassette unwinds the
Mhm.
film inside.
We used to spend so much time winding those things up. I can still feel the raw,
Spikes. Yeah,
yeah, those the raw spots on the side of your finger from sticking it in there, and then
we use a pencil.
yeah, I do think the pencil will work, but yeah, I remember driving around in my VW Rabbit with,
Oh,
that radio sitting on the floor
that's awesome. You had to bring it with you?
playing
Well, how are you gonna
mixtape,
listen to music otherwise? Yeah,
yeah.
mixtapes, yes. Oh my gosh. So many good memories. Well, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate you joining me and sharing your memories or how the song makes you feel. Everything will be in the show notes, you guys. So if you have questions of something that we talked about, it will be in the show notes. And other than that, I hope that this episode was music to your ears. Well, that was fun, wasn't it? You never know what rabbit holes we'll get to go down and explore. Were you reminded of anything? Or anyone? Share what it was with me in a review. Honestly, the reviews don't do me any favors other than knowing people like you are listening to this podcast. Insert cheesy wink. However, the ratings do help, so leave me 5 stars. You know you wanna. This podcast was produced by Virtual You, supporting you in all things podcasting. To connect or check me out on social media, I know you're just gonna stalk me. But see the show notes, as always, for details. Can't wait to dive into my next guest's memories with a beat. Hit subscribe now. You don't want to miss the next episode.